renarspodcast.
But the whole idea about ejaculation and like how unhealthy it actually can be for men. So as far as I know, and hearing like from the Multi-Orgasmic Man, that is a book which I started reading, but it was so boring.
Yeah.
But the whole idea, I understand that it was basically masturbation is not very good. Ejaculation is not very good.
Yeah.
Masturbating to get to the point like you're almost ejaculating, that's kind of good, whatever. And then they teach you all these ways, and that comes from Asia, from specifically from China, I think, And they practice all that, and then men can actually being multi-orgasmic as well as just like women, but they just need to train and practice how to do it. So, and then I remember there was kind of an age graph when like from...
How often you can masturbate.
Yeah, from like, puberty till like 20, there's that amount. And then as older you get, as less ejaculation would be good for your body. But then here you go, and this is something I remember I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about that as well. And I kind of can agree to that. Like sometimes I want to masturbate because I feel... As you said, like it takes your mind away, but also like I feel a little bit stressed or whatever. And every time I would actually ejaculate, I would feel like, I'm calming down. And that's kind of good for me. But then at the same time, they say like, it's not good for you. So where do you stand on this?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. There's a lot of beauty and a lot of truth.
People are always happy when I bring up about me masturbating and ejaculating.
I'm so happy that you talked about yourself masturbating, because I would really like to comment on it.
This is so good.
Semen retention. So, and multi-orgasmic. So what it is there's a lot of truth that like if you're masturbating too much, and we all know it, the moment you ejaculate and you release, you feel this like, you feel relaxed, you feel calm, but it also kind of takes away your energy, your power. You're not going to jump into a boxing ring and, fight 10 rounds.
That's why fighters are not allowed, and all the athletes, any high-level athletes are not allowed to ejaculate before like 5 or 6 days, whatever.
So the question that I like to ask is, whether or not you've gone to an extreme. Where is the extreme that you've gone to having detrimental effects for other reasons? And what I see is it's beneficial to try it out, to practice, to do a 30-day semen retention challenge, just for your own self-awareness and self-mastery. But a lot of guys who are trying to break free from porn and taking on semen retention at the same time end up being too high-strung about it, where they end up getting like almost OCD and like shaming themselves if they do ejaculate, where it's just like, dude, relax, go masturbate, it's okay. You don't have to be this like Spartan god that, never touches his genitals. And it's like, I think having a middle ground approach where you're not looking at porn 3 hours a day, every day, but you also don't have to be like this semen retention Taoist master.
What's the moderation? Like moderation, anything basically.
For masturbation?
Yeah, man. Hey, look at you. Doing so well. I'm so proud of you.
Sorry, for jerking off. It's like, it's like you just have to figure it out for yourself.
But still, there's scientifically, I mean, like, as far as I understand, like, I was actually recently looked it up because me and my lady were wondering, so what exactly the semen consists of, right? Well, the product you ejaculate. So the sperm of it is only like very, very tiny part of it. Rest of it is these super valuable minerals and vitamins and all of that. And that's what they say, like, and before that you think it's a joke, like, if a girl swallows the man swallows other men's semen, then it's like drinking a protein shake. So it's very like nutritious and all that stuff. Like, so, and then, a lot of guys were just like, you should do it, because that's why, and girls are like, you're just making this up, it's not real. But it's real. So that means that you losing all of that good stuff out of your body. So now the question is like how long it takes to regenerate that, how much energy that takes, and totally. Is there like a certain amount of times a week? Is it like what they said in that Multi-Orgasmic Man, that book? So like for this age, this amount of times a week, and what do you think?
Personally, so again, I'm not an expert in this. I'm not a Taoist master, and I'm not a multi-orgasmic male that's having full body kind of orgasms and transmuting my sexual energy in that way. there are people that do that. To me, I don't know, but I don't really care because again, I just see how many people are getting so high strung about trying to do that, that for me, it's healthier to say, listen, I might not be, like if you're a peak athlete, you know, if you're competing for world championships, maybe this is something you want to look into. If you're just a normal person that's trying to live a healthy life, I think it's better to live in a balanced way. It's like, for example, with nutrition. Is it probably better to never have any kind of sugar or any processed food? It's like, yeah, probably just eat, you know, just meat and some fruits, and that's probably the healthiest thing. But how many people I see getting into like mental health issues because they have one piece of chocolate and they're like, oh my God, I'm a horrible person. It's like, dude,
that's crazy.
Go have a fucking cookie, you know, relax a bit, because so many people are so high strung. And it's like, if you have that passion, if you have that interest, if you want to practice semen retention, go for it. But I'd say it's much better to like learn how to be balanced in your approach.
It's just the question for them to identify when it's too much. That's kind of a like, so how do you know? It's probably, you know, when you, if you think about it all the time, like, oh, I want to masturbate, like obviously that's something unhealthy. And how do you know? And also when you talked about athletes, so what do you think about this concept that people who do train more, they actually produce more semen, or they are more sexually active? What was there's something, again, that's, I think I heard whether Joe Rogan was talking about that, but there's something to do when athletes, because there's more certain hormone is produced, so
growth
they
hormone or something,
yeah, so they would more likely would be more horny or more does that ring a bell?
Maybe, but I've seen a lot of people who are like video gamers who never get off their desk chair who are horny as fuck.
Oh,
so
okay.
You know, it's like
right.
Yeah. How to know if you're masturbating too much? Again, all of this comes down to self-awareness, and this gets back to that question of like, what are the effects of porn? You have to start looking at your life and being aware, because again, a lot of the consequences are long-term, like how you're treating the women in your life or your partners. Some of these consequences, you know, it's like they're not immediate things, but you have to have the self-awareness to see the patterns in your life. Like, oh, am I always leaving, you know, relationships because I get bored, even though the woman is perfect, kind of thing. And those are things that take self-awareness. Also, noticing the effect on your concentration. You know, like one of the effects of porn is the mind fog, the brain fog. Like you can't really focus as well. And then when you go 30-day detox and stop watching porn, you have all this clarity.
Yeah, right.
You can think straight, you know. So all of this is like experimenting. Like experiment with semen retention.
Right.
Experiment with giving up porn. Experiment with masturbating.
Hallelujah, brother.
You know?
Blah, blah, blah. Renarspodcast.